Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Ellis County Commission meeting, Tuesday, May 12th, 2026. If we can please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, if Bobby can call roll, please.
Commissioner Nathan Liker,
Here.
Chair Neil Younger,
Present.
Commissioner Michael Burgess.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Order of business stays the same, and there will be 2 executive sessions. Okay, commissioners had a chance to look at the prior minutes?
Yes, minutes looked okay.
Okay. How about the consent agenda?
I'll move to approve consent agenda items A through G.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. All right. Anybody from out of the order of business would like to speak? Okay, how about the monthly financial report? Any questions?
I have no questions. Everything seems to be in order on that.
Okay. All right, EMS, Fire Life Saving Award, Darren.
Morning, Commissioners. Darren Myers, Ellis County Fire Chief. So I'm gonna have to do my best to maintain my composure and not get choked up on this one, but good reason for why we're here today. A lot of times, for those that know me, I get asked, why volunteer? Why be on a fire department? And my answer has always been the same over the years. And excuse me, but my answer is always, it's the best damn job in the world. Been doing it for over 25 years. And over those 25 years, your perspective changed a little bit from when you start, you get told you get to do things that most people don't. You get trained to go places where people are otherwise told to get out of. You get to cut a car apart, you get to bust indoors, you get to break things, you get to dangle off ropes, and you get to do all that fun stuff. That sounds cool and very attractive of why most people become a firefighter. As the years progress, things do change. Your perspectives change a little bit. And it's not more about what you do. It's about the service that you provide to your community and providing the best services for those that need it at the time when they need it. So today is kind of one of those situations where we celebrate our success and award those who've done a great job, not just within our fire department, but with EMS as well. And with that, before I kind of tell about our story a little bit about what happened back in February, it's also worth mentioning that what happened in February was a success story for firefighter Van Dyke, but we lost 2 other firefighters in the state of Kansas, all in western Kansas in the month of April due to similar type instances, although I don't know a lot of the story behind them, but Levi Evans of Greeley County and Liam Price from Ford County both lost their lives due to medical emergencies, either on shift or while responding to a call for service, and they were issued line of duty deaths. They're still working through that as well. But the story here in Ellis County on February 9th, the fire department had already been called out previously that day around noon to a different call. But on February 9th, around 4 p.m., the county fire department was reported to was dispatched to a structure fire out near Celebration Community Church, northwest of Hayes. Ended up being a grass fire, but it was reported that it was coming in and threatening structures. As you know, there's the church out there, the sportsman club, and some houses and a lot of other buildings, which is why it was reported as a structure fire. And when that happens, the county fire department responds, as well as other companies within Ellis County. Ellis and Victoria were en route as well. It brings out law enforcement, and then EMS goes out for standby as well. For on structure fires, you have no idea if somebody's going to be hurt or not, but it increases the likelihood and the risk of the situation. So having more people on site, especially for EMS, it protects us as well as the public. But this all happened before that call, before they even got there. They were paged out about 4 p.m. and the firefighters were responding to the station. As you all know, the county fire department is a volunteer service. They are at work, they're at home, they're wherever, at the grocery store. They wear their pagers, they get called in, so they're all responding back to the fire department. And the first couple firefighters that were on scene were getting donned in their protective equipment, getting dressed and getting ready to respond to that structure fire. Upon getting onto the engine, they were waiting on firefighter Matt Van Dyke to get his stuff and get on the truck. And firefighter Herskowitz noticed that he wasn't necessarily being timely, maybe for a reason. So they went to check on him over by where his protective gear is stored on the rack, and they found him collapsed on the floor. Firefighter Herskowitz got more help, and firefighter Mason Emerson and Captain James Younger were there as well. And Captain Younger started taking over what was going on and told them to go get help. They went and got the AED and got EMS on site and requested that help. So that way additional life-saving actions could be taken for Matt. Captain Younger realized that the level of consciousness that Matt was in was deteriorating. And it got to the point about the time that when Danita Schrader, our EMS director, arrived on scene, we're all in the same building. So I guess in God's world, this is a perfect place to be. Everybody was there at the right time. This incident happened at the right time. EMS was all still there. Danita was there. The firefighters were there. And there were a lot of people around Matt. By the time that Danita got there, Matt's condition continued to deteriorate, and eventually letting them to start CPR and applying the AED onto him and delivering shocks before they to shock him back into a rhythm while they were transporting him to the hospital. While at the hospital, Matt was there for several hours. I will have to say, I know his parents couldn't be here today, but they were, me as a parent, there's no way I could be as much of a rock like they were. They were tough. They were handling it very good for not knowing what all was going on with their son in the emergency room. But that was a hard call to make, to get them to tell them what I could and to get them into the hospital. But they were there quick to start being with Matt. But after that, Matt was flown out later that night to Wesley, and it was Wesley or Via Christi, but down to Wichita via Eagle Med, and was down there for about a week. Had some medical procedures and a whole bunch of testing over that week, and it was eventually released from the hospital and was able to return home and was on a light duty, so to speak, for essentially losing your life and being shocked and being brought back, but on light duty for about 8 weeks. And as of today, no restrictions except for, I guess, he can't weld on the farm. So best case scenario there is being able to walk away after all this with his life and just not being able to weld anymore. So before we hand off any awards, I'd like Matt to come up and introduce him to everybody. So didn't want to make him stand up here the whole time because this is probably as awkward it is for him as it is for me, as well as everybody else is getting the awards. But this is an excellent situation and why we do this job. The services that we provide, the volunteers that provide the service that they do, as well as this level of care that our EMS provides for a saving life. So, I don't know, do you want to talk?
Just wanted to say that I'm extremely lucky to be here today, and I've been in the fire service for quite a while now, and being around everybody in fire and EMS, it's for me it's pretty award or a lot of gratitude for being on the receiving side of it instead of being on the giving side of the emergency situations we are in every day. And it's for me, it's very, very humble to be here today. And but yeah, thank you.
So with that, we'll go ahead and start handing out the awards. First off, we'll bring up is Captain James Younger, which is the one that kind of led the effort on making the call to get the help, getting the AED on site, getting EMS there, but also leading the charge for all the other firefighters that were coming in to make that hard choice of not only trying to figure out how to continue to take care of Matt, but we had an incident at hand where reported structures were being threatened, and Captain Younger made the call to continue to get the firefighters loaded onto the trucks and get them sent out while they were still dealing with that situation there. So that had to be a tough situation. The next person is the two firefighters that were assisted were firefighter Mason Emerson and Tanner Herskowitz. And then for the EMS side, I had to talk somewhat Danita in to submit the award for herself, but she's as much worthy of this as everybody on her staff for the efforts that she did today. So I'm going to turn it over from here, but Matt is going to present her Lifesave Award, and then she'll be able to introduce her staff and give any comments for that as well.
The other three technicians that helped is I had Captain Ellie Cook there that day. You want to come up? And paramedic Kelly DePeasy. And EMT Dawson Bonfelt. And Dawson's going to paramedic school right now, so this is pretty awesome for him. That's all I have. Thank you.
I want to say thank you to all those who are here that have volunteered. It's not often that you get to be in the same room with those people that save a life or go into these structures. So I do appreciate all their efforts, and it is very, very visible, the training that they go through to be able to handle these emergency situations. So thank you for your continued efforts and your educations. Thank you.
I also want to thank you and those that listen. Like Mr. Meyer said, that this is one of our services that we provide, and right there it showed the professional of everyone. My previous job, I had every month had safety meeting, had to go through everything, and I was hoping I'd not ever have to use that in anything, whether somebody was choking or whatever. But here it plays, and thank each and every one of you for continuing education and being there. Thank you.
Yeah, my thanks as well. I don't know how much more I can say. Again, as a volunteer force, I think we are highly regarded throughout the state. You guys all and women take your training and seriously, and you're protecting our community on a daily basis. And in this situation, you protected one of your own. And can't be any greater honor than that. So thank you all for your service.
Okay, next is the revenue neutral rate mailing reimbursement. Bobby?
Good morning, Commissioners. Bobby Dryling, Ellis County Clerk. I'm just before you today in reference to, since we're starting our budget process for 2027. This year, insofar as 2026 is the last year that the state is going to reimburse the counties for doing the revenue neutral rate mailings. And so once again, we have another state mandated job to do that the state is not going to be reimbursing the counties back. So with that, if things keep proceeding as they are and there's no reimbursement for 2027, I was just trying to get a direction on how you would like for me to budget that. You can see the 3 years that I outlined on the agenda, what the costs are. This year, the postage is supposed to go up to like 82 cents. So those prices are going to be more for this year. And then when we get into 2027 mailing, they're going to be even more expensive because postage is supposed to increase again. So let me see, I have the statute, per KSA 79-2988, that does allow for the county clerk to seek reimbursement from the taxing entities that do post a notice on the revenue neutral rate mailing. It's done proportionately through what they collect in taxes. And Darren, if you want to pull up the spreadsheet that I provided, a couple of years back, one of the county clerks provided a worksheet that they've done so that you can figure out what it would cost each entity. You have to take in consideration that it's a very fluid worksheet because it's dependent upon who exceeds revenue neutral, how much they exceed revenue neutral. So these figures that I have on here are from it's like if I would have been able to charge entities for this year, these were last year's figures. So you can see what each entity I would get to charge back if the commissioner wants to go that route. And like I said, it's very fluid. Those numbers change if, let's say, the county decided not to go over revenue neutral. So we didn't need to have a notice of hearing on the mailer. That you can see up, Darren, do you want to go to the top? Where the county for last year, the R&R cost was $7,400. So if we did not exceed, that cost would come off for the county to owe, and it would be proportionally put on to other taxing entities. So speaking across the state with a couple of my county clerks, I asked what they were planning on doing it, and I got various answers. Some were regardless, the county was going to pay for the full mailing, whether they went revenue neutral or not. Some were saying that if they did go revenue neutral and other entities did as well, they would proportionally share it. And another one was if the county did not stayed under revenue neutral, did not need a notice of hearing, they wouldn't pay for any of it. So it was kind of across the board on how it is being done. So I guess what I'm here for you guys to kind of give me direction for 2027. If you want me to budget for the county to pay for it, or if you want to proportionally split it out between taxing entities.
When a revenue neutral letter is sent out, isn't it, it's just one letter with each of the entities, or is it?
No, it's one letter in each. There's a
Right.
line item for
That's what I
each.
said, yeah. So even if we're, as a county, neutral, the letter's still going out for all the other, it's just one letter.
Correct.
And it'll line item. thing.
Yes.
So regardless, we have to send it out, but.
Right. State
we can-
mandated the clerk to send out.
Unless, I guess unless all entities are revenue neutral, then it wouldn't have to, I guess.
I believe that still has to go out
Still
because
has
it
to
still
go out.
has to show what your taxes are going to do.
Okay.
Yeah, because it has more information on there, prior year taxes, estimated next year's taxes.
Yeah, so regardless, it's going out. My other, I guess, just general thought, I don't really know how I think right now on this, but I guess kind of rhetorical question, like what's fair to the taxpayer? So for me, I live, a county within the district of city of Hayes and then school district 489. And if we're billing the city then and billing the school district to reimburse that back, is that essentially the taxpayer that's in those entities kind of getting taxed? Like, is the city going to essentially tax to be able to reimburse that. Is the school gonna essentially tax? Or is it fair just to the taxpayer if it's just the county? Regardless, since it has to go out, the county just pays it, so that way as a taxpayer, it's clear that, yes, this mailing had to go out, but you paid for it. And we're all county residents. So that's just
Right.
it's kind of a rhetorical, just kind of question.
Right, and I agree with that regardless, it needs to go out one way or the other. Kind of like you said, the tax comes out of the same pot, more or less, with you living in the city, you're gonna pay for the county and the school district, so.
And for 2027's budget, so 2026 you budget, because it's presidential year, we've got lots of election. Typically, you would lower your budget a little bit for the off.
In elections.
Yeah,
Mhm.
could that, within your budget, at least for that year, I mean, if it's 20,000, would that keep your budget essentially the same?
Well,
But it's
Those are two
or are they
different
just
budgets.
different? Okay.
So one, I have my election budget and there's a lot of costs that are rising on that as well, so.
Okay. Those are my questions.
I know, it's a very gray area.
It is.
Because first off, we could be looking when legislation gets back into session next year and they make some decisions on, our taxes, and they may decide to reimburse us for another, that's what was kind of on the table this year. They were gonna reimburse it up to 2031, I believe it was. But, we can assume, and then if I don't budget for it correctly.
So in an effort to lower taxes or maintain property taxes locally, the state is forcing the county to raise taxpayer dollars to pay for this.
Right, and like I started out with, another state mandate that the
Yeah.
state doesn't, throws everything back onto the county to pay for.
So, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of another. It's coming out of the taxpayer's pocketbook.
Correct.
That's the sad part. They write their checks to the county treasurer, so I think we probably just leave it in our budget and go on that route. I mean, it should be reflective, I guess, so in the other budgets. I mean, but it's all coming out of the same pot of money.
Correct.
I'm that same way too. It's just darn if you do and darn if you don't. And I hate it. I hate it. But anyhow, there's nothing we can do, and the state's gonna. And like you said, hopefully they'll come up with something here. Knock
Right.
on wood, but
Okay.
I guess for clarification, I'm okay if you include that cost in your budget
budget.
going forward.
Okay.
yeah, because you can't complete it without.
Yeah, at this time, that would be kind of my direction. That doesn't mean we're not locked in at this point.
Right.
Kind of reconsider, think about it. Have you, I guess, talked to the city and the school districts at
Yes,
all, just to
so-
kind of say, hey,
When the R&R became effective, every year that I send out the budget sheets to each taxing entity, I include a letter of instruction. And for the last 3 years, that letter included, starting in 2027, you will have to budget for your proportionate share. So like I said, yes, they're aware,
okay,
but now that we're down to the wire for it to actually happen, I thought it'd be best to let the commissioners kind
I
of go
think
down
it
that
prob-
road of, and like Commissioner Liker said, it all comes out of the same pocket at the end of the day.
yeah.
I think it would probably be the easiest if you kept it under your budget, and then if there is a reimbursement or a retroactive thing from the state, to chase it down one avenue.
Okay,
So,
all right.
Okay.
I will proceed that way. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the CID public hearing for Stonewood North. Dominic?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Gilmore and Bell. Here again on the CID, we're getting closer to the finish line on this. Today, we have a public hearing regarding the creation of the district. You had previously approved a resolution to call for that public hearing. Notice was provided as per the statute, which included a mailing to each of the affected property owners and also publication in the paper. And so today what we have is a public hearing for you to open, receive comment, and then a resolution to consider the creation of the district. The district is created. It will allow for the project to move forward with special assessments against all of the affected properties at the amounts that were included in the mailing to each of the property owners ahead of time. As a reminder, you had set a 2/3 threshold for a petition to be submitted in order to have a public hearing and kind of get to the step, and that 2/3 threshold was reached by this particular development, as well as the 75% build-out threshold. And so, again, today's action would be to formally hold that hearing, and then you would consider the formal approval and creation of that district. We wouldn't be quite done yet, but we'd be close at that point. The next steps would be the financing of the initial construction. And so we would come back in a couple months related to that. For the property owners, I've talked about this a little bit with a couple of the representatives. There may be a small discount that could be available if they prepaid their assessments in full. That will be calculated, and those property owners would be so advised following the creation of the district here and prior to the next meeting that we would have regarding a potential bond issue to finance the initial construction of the improvements. If they do not choose to prepay in full, then the special assessments would be spread over a 10-year period. And so happy to answer any questions on the process. Otherwise, the procedure would be to open the public hearing, receive any applicable comments, and consider the resolution.
Okay. I have no comments at this point. We've gone over a lot of this, so I appreciate your efforts in this.
Thank you.
I have nothing either.
I'll move to open the public hearing for the Stonewood Estates North Edition CID.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Anybody from the public wish to speak on this?
All
Do you want to oppose it or anything?
No,
Okay.
no, we don't.
I'm Jennifer Teagat, and I'm one of the petitioned members. And just wanted to thank you all for continuing to work with us and continuing to go down this path. And thank Mr. Eck for being here to help us continue. So.
Okay.
Okay,
Well, thank you.
I'll move to close public hearing for the Stonewood Estates North Edition CID.
I will second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign.
I'll move to approve resolution 2026-09 for the creation of Stonewood Estates North Edition CID.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Dominic, what's kind of the timeline then as far as where we go from here?
Yeah, great question. So we'll get with Mr. Myers and figure out a timeline. We'll probably be a couple months out, somewhat dependent on when you want to start construction of that road improvement. And so we don't want to borrow too soon, right, and unnecessarily incur interest on those funds. But we'll work with Mr. Myers there, come up with the right timing to match up with your construction schedule and go from there.
Okay, but as far as the CID, it has now
CID
been
is
now established?
It is now created and established. That is correct.
Okay.
The final steps here will be the financing steps.
Okay.
That will involve kind of, again, that potential prepayment process, which will affect potential bond issue size and financing and things of that nature. So we'll work with Mr. Myers, Mr. Kleeman over the next couple months to make sure we have all those timing steps coordinated and synced up, and be back later.
Okay, thank you.
I do have one other question.
Yeah.
In the little town that I live in, Munger, we had a Munger Improvement District. It was developed for the sewer system. It is now, I'm gonna call it mature, it's paid up. Does this just keep going and going and going? Because we have our own checkbook, we have, the maintenance.
Very good question. Yeah, the answer is no on this. So
Okay.
this community improvement district was created for the specific and limited purpose of this road improvement project. The road improvement project, as defined in the petition and in the documents, includes the initial improvement and then one maintenance improvement about 5 years down the line. After that time, the roads will be fully turned over and just part of the normal county's road maintenance project calendar. And so there is no separate kind of management of a CID district. It is a method to finance projects, but it does not create its own board or anything of that nature. So it does not direct itself. It is a request to the county to create certain improvements and provide a way to finance and pay for those improvements. And so that is what we have done here today. We have created this special district. We have provided a financing mechanism, but there is no kind of board of directors. There is no separate accounting. There is no separate entity that was created. It is simply kind of a subset to make these improvements. Yeah, great question.
All right, thank you.
Dominic, can you also, just because it has been asked, and
Yeah.
I'm sure they know, but just for the details of moving forward on, there seems to be a couple parties that are interested in prepaying everything up front. Can you
Yeah,
kind of
so
outlay that
we'll
time?
work with you on timing. We'll work with Larry Kleeman, the county's financial advisor, who helped establish what these, kind of estimated assessment amounts would be to kind of right-size the bond issue. And as part of right-sizing that bond issue, if somebody wants to prepay, they can do so. And then at that point, you wouldn't have to borrow for some of that funds. And so you have a smaller issue, smaller interest. So they would be able to be entitled to some savings off of that. So we'll work with Mr. Kleeman on figuring out what that amount would be. The property owners will be notified of what the discount would be. In other words, what the amount would be to prepay in full, and provided with a time period in which they can prepay. And if they do not prepay at that time period, then they'll be assessed the full amount from the petition over the 10-year period and move forward on that method. So yes, there will be additional communication with the homeowners regarding the process and amount of a prepayment.
Will this be something that, and I know we're gonna go according to construction, but are we gonna try and use this for material purchase? And I guess this is kind of a Brendan budget question and such. We're gonna try and use this for material purchase where this would actually start, the payment would be done in 2026?
No, so your 2026s that are collected or taxed out this year in December for
Okay,
the assessments, that'll be the first time the homeowners see that. And that the 2026 funds that are collected when you pay your taxes this year are for the 2027 budget. Now, all this project does not impact the county's budget. This
Mhm.
doesn't come out of the county's budget. The rock, the sand, the oil, all those materials to do the work are not in the county budget. So as Dominic had mentioned, if it's going to cost, I know the total project cost over the two different constructions that they're doing, but for the chip seal, the money will either be bonded up front to get that to happen, or when they do the asphalt lift in several years, that money will be bonded. It will be held in a separate fund, gain its own interest. And anytime there's an expense to buy oil, sand, rock, materials, whatever it may be, that fund will be expended out of to pay for those services. So it won't impact Brendan's budget to reduce anything that they can or cannot do anywhere else in the county.
okay. And just for clarification, this project, these funds, these are only gonna be paid for by these residents of this area. This is
Those
not, this is not impacting
That's
the rest of the entire county
That
taxpayers.
is correct. Yes, only the properties within the boundaries of the CID district, and only the amounts that were, provided in the notice would be able to be assessed against those properties.
Okay,
Hopefully by that time, the price will come down.
yeah. I
Yeah, I
have no
think-
further, go ahead.
I won't speak for Brendan, but he said like right now, this is a good example of why we wouldn't want to do this project with the price of oil and everything that's increased. I think he said before the meeting, it's up 18%.
Mhm.
And that's going to significantly maybe hinder them doing this project if it was set to do today. But this isn't in their construction budget or cycle until next year. So we'll have some time to be able to identify when to purchase and make those orders and make sure we can still get the project done within the budget they had set aside.
Okay.
And the petition did recognize that we have some flexibility, so that way they're not underpaying for something that they, or not having enough funding to pay for something. It might say, well, let's move it to next year when we know prices may go down or something, or flatten back out, and I'll be able to make sure that they get what they petitioned themselves to do.
Okay. I have no further questions. Thank you again.
I would like to thank Jennifer, you and your team for staying on this, and it's gonna be quite the thing, quite the deal. So thank you.
Thank you, Dominic.
Thank you.
Enjoy your 2-hour drive. It's a beautiful day.
Yep.
Okay, City of Victoria, chip seal project, Brandon? We were just talking about you, now you get a.
Yeah, you'll have me for a while here. So first request is from the city of Victoria to seal about 14,000 square yards within the city limits. It's something we've routinely done years past. We didn't do anything last year for them. They did no request. But this is about normal for what we expect from them. So they'll provide all the materials, soils, rock or sand if they scrub seal or sand seal, and we'll just provide the equipment and labor to put the seal coats down. Generally, we do this during harvest when we want to stay off the main roads. We're not impacting the ag community in our county.
Any questions? Okay, I move to approve the Ellis County Public Works Department to assist the city of Victoria in completing their chip seal project utilizing county labor and equipment.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign, passes. All right, Brandon, the City of Ellis chip seal project.
So basically the same thing, but just change the name of cities and the amounts down. Just over 18,000 square yards for the city of Ellis. Same thing, we'll do it during the same time frame of during harvest. And it's something we've routinely done in the past.
Okay. I'll move to approve Ellis County Public Works Department to assist the city of Ellis in completing their chip seal project utilizing county labor and equipment.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. All those against say opposed, same sign. All right. Yeah, you are gonna be up here for a while. Okay, the 48th Street speed limit resolution.
Yes, sir. So as the commission's aware, last fall, we completed a overlay project, mill and overlay on 48th Street, as well as Commerce and Vineyard, joining the city limits of Hayes. And with that, we applied for and was approved for a TEEP study through KDOT. So that is a traffic engineering assistance program through them. So it's no cost to the county. Unfortunately, it does take a considerable amount of time, but it did save us over $17,000 contracting it out ourselves. With that program and that study we had done, they found and recommended that we increase the speed limit on 48th Street from 35 miles an hour to 45 miles an hour. As there is no residential area on there and it's not built out yet, they felt And the traffic study showed that traffic's already going well over 35 miles an hour. The safe speed is around 45 miles an hour.
This was also done, I guess I didn't see, is there another motion for Vineyard and 270?
There was no changes to that one. It was 55 miles an hour. They
Okay.
recommended keeping it at 55, and they recommended no change to any of the signal.
Okay, will we be
Traffic.
posting those are
We
they
can put
posted?
them up, but statutory is 55 on any unposted roadway, so
Okay,
it's more targets to get hit or shot if we put it up, but we can put them up if you'd like.
okay, because I did see on the studies, there was more going a little over the 55 and
Correct,
there was more over than there was under.
correct. And that's where it also stated if there was enforcement would be a better solution or recommended solution if speeds continue to stay above the legal limit.
Mm-hmm.
So their stating was you put a sign up, but statutorily it's 55 miles an hour on any unposted roadway in the state of Kansas. So why would you put more things out there to get damaged in wind events or vandalized? But we can if that's what commission wants.
It's kind of like a stop ahead sign.
We
You
have
can
lots
see a
of
big
those.
red sign, but
I don't see a need for it, like I say. If
That's why
not
we have left
posted,
those little
it's,
orange, little yellow reflectors off in the ditches that the commission may or may not have seen. Those
Mhm.
were for shoulder drop offs, but we left them in place if the speed limit was going to be something other than the statutory limit. We left those footings in place, so we didn't have to go out and do new footings. So with it being 55, if the commission doesn't want signs, it's fine with having no signage on it, we'll just pull those footings back up and reuse them.
commissioners, any? Like I say, unless posted, it's 55, so.
you're assuming the general public understands the rules of the road.
I would say half of them would not pass the test if they had to do a written test.
It was posted 35 on the other stretch and traffic was exceeding
Yes.
that too, so.
Right. Well, I know it turns into city limits once you come off of once you enter the concrete. Is that posted at 35 there?
Correct, it's posted right by Vineyard Park to 35.
Okay,
And city limits actually extends all the way out to just past the intersection of 260th.
right.
But where it changes now from asphalt to concrete, there's a 35 mile an hour sign there.
Okay. Is there a 35 mile, and I'm trying to think off the top of my head, and I understand if you can't answer it, but is there a posted 35 mile an hour sign on the eastbound traffic on that road?
There is well before it changes. And then once they hit that change intersection, it's 55 from there on out.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I'm fine with leaving it, but I guess if we have a number of questions, and
Then
we
we
can
can
always revisit that.
review
That's kind of
We have the
where I'm at.
documents that'll
Yeah.
back us up.
55 and just, the rules of the road and I guess enforce it a little bit, have the sheriff department kind of run through it a little bit, but I guess if it becomes an issue, we could just repost, but at this time I wouldn't post.
Mhm.
Prior to
Uh,
pavement, the highest speed we recorded was 93 miles an hour on the unpaved section north on Commerce. So that means either someone had really good traction or someone ran through the stop head and the stop sign, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, at this time, I'll move to approve resolution 2026-10 regarding the adoption of new speed limit along 48th Street.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Okay,
Thank you. We'll have our traffic sign technician install it today when he gets back from the funeral.
Okay.
okay, county administrator report, none? County commission reports,
I have no report today.
I don't have anything either.
all three of us.
Okay. At this point, I'll move the Board of County Commissioners recess to executive session for 20 minutes under the following exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act pursuant to the attorney-client privilege exception. Subject to be discussed during the executive session is solar project documents. Open session will resume at 9:40 in the commission chambers. Those in attendance, in addition to the Board of County Commissioners, are Justin Craig, Bill Jeter, Trish Voth, Darren Myers.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved.
No decisions. No decisions were reached when
Nope.
we resume open session.
Yes.
We're gonna give consent to Darren, the county administrator, to sign an amendment to the reimbursement agreement.
I'll second that. Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. At this time, I'll move the Board of County Commissioners recess to executive session for 10 minutes under the following exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act pursuant to the attorney-client privilege exception. Subject to be discussed during the executive session is contract negotiation. Open session will resume at, for 10 minutes, 9:51 in the commission chambers. Those that attend to the Board of County Commissioners are Darren Myers and Bill Jeter.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. And all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign.
Open session resumes at 9:51. No decisions were reached.
Adjourn at 9:52.